everyone, it's Miss Dragonfly back again, and this is my review of episode 12 of Married at First Sight season 4. Now, it's been a month since they met at the altar, and in this episode, the brides spend a week at their husbands' homes to get to know them, their lifestyle, and meet their family and friends. For most, this means traveling across the country into a completely different lifestyle. First up with Vanessa and Andy. Vanessa arrives at his place. Later that evening, Andy invites his friends over to meet his new wife. Now, his best friend complains that she talks a lot, but she doesn't talk about them. He can't see her moving up to the Gold Coast or him moving to Melbourne to be with her. And he sure can't see sparks or fireworks between them. Now, later, after a tough meeting with his mates, Andy takes her out to a lunch date. Now, here we actually get a show of Andy's strength when he moves the back of a ute with his bare hands. And what a strong man, I have to say. Later on, he opens up and tells her more about himself, namely more about his army experience, what he's done, where he's been. He has been in the army for 8 years, so that was a big part of him. We move to Nadia and Anthony. They visit Anthony's place in Sydney. Nadia wants to get to know him better. She finds out that he's quite a hothead, and that has been demonstrated to her regarding when he did the dressing down of Cheryl. There was a Wi-Fi problem which affected someone's bedding, and that was a problem he wanted it fixed and fixed immediately. So that really shows his focus, his intensity, and he is really a straight shooter. Now we'll move to Michelle and Jesse. They go to his place, and his place also turns out to be his mum's place. And she meets his mum, who shows her around the house. Michelle thinks it's a little weird that a 31-year-old is living with his mum, and the shed is his room. Jess says that he's saving for a house at the moment, hence why he is staying with his mum. Now, if that is the reason why he's staying with his mum, instead of just being dependent on her, then I think he actually deserves marks for that, for planning for his future and actually doing something about it. And later he takes her to the markets where he works to impress her. Everyone there seems to know him, and they greet him and shake his hand. They then meet his dad, who thinks she is beautiful and perfect for him, and comments that eventually he will pass the shop down to Jessie. Michelle said that she never imagined working in a fruit and veg store, and her bond with her sister Sharon is extremely close, as expected, and really being with him would mean moving away from her family and friends, and I guess that's something that she hasn't decided on. Now coming to Sharon and Nick. Sharon is extremely worried about the types of friends of Nick she's going to be meeting, given his playboy antics of drinking and going to strip clubs. As she says, who your friends are also reflects who you are. However, when they meet his friends and they sit down to dinner, to his credit, Nick actually tackles this issue heads on and brings up her concern about the stripper issue. He says that it's a typical Aussie bloke thing when they're single to do that. And in front of everyone, he says that now that he's married, he's not going there anymore. And this was very brave and also very smart of him to do this. And I will have to say, well done. His friends approve of her and say thanks to her, he has grown more in a month than he has in the last 5 years. Nick later takes her camping, which Sharon enjoys, and she says his friends are kind, lovely people, and it's a great reflection on him. Now, Elany goes to Simon's hometown of Ipswich. Elany has never lived or stayed in the country before, so doesn't know how she's going to be. They look around Simon's bachelor home, which is very sparse. And later he shows her his dream of one day owning a farm by visiting a farm, and she finds it quite daunting, I might say. She seems very unsure and very awkward around the animals. And yeah, they chase and lick her. They later have dinner with his friend Katie, who was his groomswoman at their wedding. It becomes clear that Simon wants to take this relationship one step at a time, where Elany wants to know how and where this is going and how this is going to work. So that is developing into a little issue for them. Now, Susan and Sean, we go on to another farm. They arrive at Sean's farm. Susan says that she would really have to love the farm in order to move here. Susan then experiences what Sean's day involves, and it is waking up to chores, feeding and washing the animals. She realizes he needs a wife that completely loves his passion, and she feels, well, she's not sure if this is for her. She's really struggling to adapt to Sean's lifestyle, and here she's really hit a wall. It is very isolated, so difficult for Susan to overcome, as she herself is very social, and she's going to miss that social interaction. Now, knowing how hard it's been for Susan, Sean decides to take her into town in a horse and cart to show her around the town. Susan is starting to realize the last few days that his world is completely different from hers. They are trying to make it work for the happily ever after, and Susan actually suggests to him that maybe they're not meant to be. Ooh. Sean is very disappointed, as he feels that they're really greatly matched, and he could see himself falling in love with her. And for all this to stop because of this, I can totally understand his disappointment. Because Sean can't move. So for this relationship to go further, then Susan will have to move in with him. She's had a very difficult experience with his farm life, so can she overcome that for love, or is it going to be too difficult and she puts that life that she wants before love? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Now, Cheryl and Andrew, they arrive at his bachelor pad in Perth, and he shows her around. They visit his family, where Andrew has to explain what happened and why it's no longer Lauren that's come home and it's Cheryl. His mum was very surprised, but she feels very comfortable with Cheryl and is pleased that Cheryl isn't arrogant. Andrew seems happy, and that's all she wants. Later, Andrew tries to impress Cheryl with a beach picnic. He even wrote her a song while she was in the shower and sang it for her. Cheryl says that no guy has ever written her a song. He then leans over to kiss her, and she says, "I don't want to kiss you." Andrew is understandably pissed off. He says it's frustrating, as it feels Cheryl wasn't into it at all. Now, Cheryl says that it was just a bit too much for her. She has gotten hurt in the past and doesn't want to be hurt again. Now, I'm starting to have big doubts about Cheryl. She was keen to get into a relationship with Andrew, and she was the one that instigated it. And now she rebuffs his advances. And after everything that she said at the dinner party when they re-entered as a couple, she now says that she's afraid of getting hurt. I'm not so sure that I believe her intentions now. Well, that's all for this episode. Let me know what you think by leaving your comments below. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to be alerted to when the next video is posted. So until then, bye for now.